Welcome to what I hope is the conclusion of Project Wireless. Now, if you haven't watched the other episodes of Project Wireless, don't bother, I'll sum it up now. Project Wireless is a wireless charging dock that I put in my Citroën C5 X7 Tourer instead of a glove compartment sort of thing, that's a tray that's under here. I replaced that with a wireless charging dock. I started off with a cardboard one. It's more of a prototype, test fittings, that sort of thing. I moved on to a very flimsy plastic one, then a bit more of a more rugged plastic one made with thicker plastic, but then I glued it all together with hot glue, and that went terribly badly. It all came apart, so I went back, took the whole thing out, redid it, this time with screws and brackets in the back. You can't see it, but it's holding all the panels in place, and it works absolutely lovely. Only problem is right now I have to use the car's 12-volt socket here. It plugs in there, and the problem with that is, first of all, I think it's rather ugly. I don't like having wires poking out from between trim panels, and second, this can be used for other things. What I'm going to do now is hook this up to the fuse box. And how am I going to do that? Well, this is the solution I found online. So you've got these wires here, the red and black wire, and they come from your 12-volt power source, in this case the car's fuse box, and also the black wire will attach to the chassis, but we're getting too bogged down by details. It converts it into 5 volts, and then yeah, there's the female USB plug. I did receive this, which is the actual mini fuse plug thing that connects to a wire, and I actually made a wiring loom. Instead of waiting for AliExpress's terrible service to give me that thing over there, I thought maybe this will work, because this transforms also 12-volt current into 5 volts. However, it turns out this is probably knackered, so this entire wiring loom is useless. I also added a switch, so if I want to have my mobile phone on the charging pad but not charging, for example, it might already be 100% full, or it might be a very hot day and wireless charging heats up the phone just by itself. So with extra heat from the outside, that's bad. Doesn't matter. I like the idea of being able to switch off the charging pad if I want to, but this didn't go well, so I'm going to have to separate this from the rest of the loom. That's done, and this, throw that away, and I've got this. I think this will work as well. Why wouldn't this work? I think it will work. I'm going to have to find a way to wire all of this together. I've simply shoved the wire into this bit here, and then I'll just gaffer tape it, and I'm going to call it a day. Now I've just got to make sure that current is reaching the other end of the wire. I would say that worked. The wires have been soldered into place. They seem to work absolutely fine. I've tested them with the multimeter, and yeah, the strings go along. The wire, sorry. So this panel is what is beneath the steering wheel, and I'm struggling to find a place to put the switch that I want to add. This switch here. Opening a big fat hole is out of the question. Maybe a small one wouldn't be. If I were to screw it into place here, it's reachable, and it really isn't that much of a mod. One thing I have on all my mods, all the changes I do to a car, and this is no exception, this Project Wireless, it's reversible. If I want to, I can take everything out now and it all go back to being as stock as it was before I decided to install that wireless charging dock. However, I'm finding it hard to find a way of fastening this without making holes. So maybe just one hole here. Maybe I can live with that. So there we are. That's in place. I really did not like having to make holes in the plastic, but I just couldn't find any other solution that was less invasive, I should say. So what I'm going to do now, this is going to go back into place, and then the loom, this very small, very simple loom, will be put in place. And once that's in place, I'm going to cut the positive wire, which in this case is brown, and apply some connectors that will in turn connect to the switch. Hopefully this will work. Anyway, so the next morning I'm in the car. I'm going to have to remove this kick panel. Screw is there. Remove this, I can do it now. This is the fuse box cover. Us left-hand drive drivers, very lucky because we get the fuse box on the driver's side, and I really do feel for UK drivers who have to have it on the passenger side, and it means they have no glove box. That is not cool from Citroen's part. That's a small digression. And last but not least, I remove this panel here, which is very easy to remove. I think I'm going to need both hands, but yeah, I'm going to remove this to expose some screws down here where I can connect the earth to the car chassis. My first order of business will be to attach the transforming thing, the USB socket. I'm going to cable tie it into place just over there. I will make sure that I'm not going to make access to the cabin filter difficult, because that's over there. I'm going to connect this to that 10 amp fuse there and to this screw here, and I have to thank Mark from the French Car Forum. I'm going to thank the French Car Forum in general, they're great, but Mark, whose username is Give Me a Break, he's helped me a lot. Also, he penned a tutorial on how to wire up a dash cam, and he used these points, this 10 amp fuse. It's on the F4 fuse space, and to this screw here, confirmed that was a good earth point. So thanks very much, Mark, for these tips. It's at this point that I marvel how Citroens from this era are so well built. I think you can ask anyone who's bought a Citroen from the late 2000s, well, at least the C5s and C6s, they're properly screwed together, and it's just not something you expect from Citroen with their reputation for shoddy build quality. It's just not the case at all. Especially me, I'm not exactly a stranger to Citroen's build quality. My father had, I don't know how many Citroens. He had about 11 CXs, he had Visas, he had BX, AMI 8, you name it. He had nearly all of them. But this one, it's also well screwed together, all of this stuff. It should be all rattly and stuff, but it isn't. So this is in place. I can plug in. Move it a bit further down if I can. I'm going to plug this in. I think I'm just going to bung it in like so. I'm going to leave it like that. So if I want, I can add something else there. So I've got a second USB port that's available. Thread these wires through the already applied cable tie. One thing I cannot forget is to first offer this up, so I know where I can cut this this wire. I've got to leave rather a lot of slack, because if I want to take this off, I have to make sure I've got enough slack to be able to pull it off and disconnect the connectors. Anyway, just hooked it up, see if it works. And lo and behold, it does. There you go, got some nice lights going on. For some reason, this only works when I have two fuses here. Probably all, focus. All of you electricians probably know why, but does that mean this is like a 20 amp fuse? Yeah, well, you probably know why, and yeah, I'm a bit of an ignoramus when it comes to these things. But as long as it works, I'm not really bothered. So next step, I've got to cable tie all of these wires into place, and yeah, this has come loose as well, but I'm not really bothered with that. As long as it stays in place while I'm driving along. Nearly there. Can you see that? That's on. Switch, that's off. On, off. God, this has been an absolute freaking nightmare. I'm tired, I'm knackered, my back hurts, my arms hurt. It's because of all these awkward positions you have to be in when you're sitting down here. Blooming hell. I'm going to be glad to get this over with. So that's that. We've got a lovely charging port, and that was a palaver. That was hard work. You might ask, if it was such a bother to do this, why do it at all? Well, the reason is wireless charging is just so practical. I don't want to go back. The first phone I had with wireless charging was a Samsung Galaxy S8. Other brands are available, but it was just such a revolution in the time it took, or should I say didn't take, to get it charging. No more fumbling around looking for cables or chargers or plugging it in. None of that. When you're driving, it makes even more sense. I'd always get into the car, I'd drive away, and then I'd remember I've got to plug in the phone somehow, and then I'd be fumbling, looking around for adapters and cables and trying to find a way to plug it in on the move, waiting for red light. If I was on the motorway, it would be a real bother. And with a wireless charging pad, it's just, oh, I forgot to plug in my phone. I don't think you can argue with that. It's just incredibly convenient. So I'm really glad I've got this in here. And yeah, that's it for Project Wireless. If you made it this far, congratulations. I hope it wasn't too boring. Like the video, you can subscribe if you like. And yeah, I bid you farewell.